All right, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. If you're here, thanks for watching the video. In advance, we're gonna do a little Grok research. I'm doing air quotes just to get a general overview of what's going on in Somalia and why it's so hard for people to live in Somalia and that they have to be brought to the United States in large numbers. Now, when it comes to immigration, I would say I'm very sympathetic to Mexican immigration, probably because it's something that I've grown up with my whole life and because it makes sense. It makes sense that Mexican people, especially around the southern border states, would have friends and family in the United States and other business connections or other connections in the United States, and that they would travel back and forth between Mexico and the United States. It makes complete sense to me. Not to say that we should invite illegal immigrants into the country, but Mexican immigration, at least on a physical level, makes sense to me. Mexico is right there. It's in walking distance of a lot of these states: Texas, New Mexico, Arizona. I'm not sure if Georgia, I'm not sure if they can walk from Georgia to Georgia. But anyway, you get what I'm getting at. So the Somali thing is a little different to me because they have to take a plane from Africa, or I guess they could take a boat or something. But either way, you got to cross the ocean. So it's kind of different scenario, different thing. So first, I'm going to like this meme here by Mr. Sausage. I have no clue who he is, but this meme is entirely encapsulating what I've been thinking lately. And then we're going to go over here to Grok to check out what is wrong with living in Somalia. I don't know if I spelled that right. Whatever. Extreme security threats and ongoing conflict. So, an Al Qaeda affiliate continues widespread terrorist attacks, including bombings, assassinations, kidnappings, and ambushes, even in the capital, Mogadishu. Clan conflicts, inter-clan violence, and fighting between government forces and militants cause frequent civilian deaths, displacement, and destruction. Kidnapping for ransom, including foreigners, illegal roadblocks, violent crime, and piracy, especially off the coast, remain serious risks. U.S. State Department and UK FCDO both advise against all travel to most of Somalia. Level 4 Do Not Travel advises against all travel, citing these dangers. US UK citizens receive almost no consular help if things go wrong. There's basically no functioning embassy support outside very limited areas. Okay, so basically they've got Al Qaeda and inter-clan violence. Is the United States causing that? I mean, the Al Qaeda thing. Possibly, you could possibly link that to the CIA with the whole Zbigniew Brzezinski thing going back to the Russian war in Afghanistan. Okay. Severe humanitarian crisis and food insecurity. Millions face acute hunger. Late in 2025, early 2026, around 4 to 4.8 million people, 1 in 4 Somalis are in crisis or emergency food and security levels, with projections of worsening drought impacts. 1.85 million children are expected to suffer acute malnutrition through mid-2026, including hundreds of thousands in severe, life-threatening condition. Recurrent droughts, now extending into 2025-2026, failed rainy seasons and occasional floods destroy livestock, crops, and water sources, especially devastating for pastoralists who make up a large part of the population. Okay, so now this stuff is not the fault of the US either. Droughts. Now, this is horrible. This is horrible. But can we actually bring 4.8 million Somalis to the United States to save them? Or maybe all those people out there protesting and all those people that are able to get all that money to bail out Antifa people out of jail almost infinitely, maybe they could spend some of their energy on this, on fixing this in Somalia, rather than blocking police trying to deport Somalians. Right? Now, maybe I'm insane. Maybe I'm insane for suggesting that, you know, since Americans have all these resources that they can help Somalians, shouldn't we help all of them? Not just like however many couple tens of thousands or 100,000 that we can immigrate to the United States. Because it seems that 1.5 million children are going to be suffering under these humanitarian conditions, right? So just bringing a few people over is not really going to help that much. Okay. Massive displacement and poor living conditions. Over 3.5 million people are internally displaced, many living in crowded, insecure camps with frequent forced evictions. Over 140,000 plus evicted in 2025 alone. Basic services barely exist. Only about 1/3 of health facilities function. Clean water access is limited for half the population. Sanitation is poor, leading to constant disease outbreaks. Cholera ongoing since 2017, measles, etc. High child and maternal mortality, limited education, and crumbling infrastructure. Okay. Now, again, these are things that, college educated Americans and other Americans could possibly help them with in their country. And that would be better because, again, we can't bring 3.5 million Somalians to the United States, right? It's just not possible. And then, that would solve, going there and fixing their country. Oh, but you can't go there because their country's run by Al-Qaeda affiliates and inter-clan violence, right? So maybe we should be teaching them libertarianism, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if that's the solution. Okay. Economic and development hardship. Somalia ranks near the very bottom of the Human Development Index, around 193rd out of 193 countries in recent years with a Human Development Index of 0.38. Extreme poverty affects a majority of the population, often estimated at 60 to 75% living below extreme poverty lines. Very high youth unemployment, few formal jobs, and systemic governance fragility limit opportunities. Okay. Now this, again, I this is something that I don't know how you solve if they don't have a lot of resources in their country. Okay, I'm gonna get to that in a second though. Some areas, like parts of Somaliland, especially western regions around Hargeisa, are relatively more stable with less terrorist activity. But even there, UK advice is essential travel only and risks remain high. The federal government controls only part of the country. Much territory is contested or under militant influence. In short, for the average person, especially foreigners, or those without strong local clan protection networks. Daily life involves constant risk of violence, unreliable access to food, water, healthcare, and very few safety nets. While some Somalis and diaspora members do return or invest, and parts of the economy remittances show resilience, the overwhelming consensus from the UN, humanitarian agencies, and governments is that Somalia remains one of the world's most dangerous and difficult places to live in 2026. If you're asking out of curiosity for family reasons or considering business or travel, the short version is it is currently among the hardest places on earth to live safely and comfortably. Okay. Way kind of resources. Okay. They've got livestock. Somalia has one of Africa's largest livestock population, 57 million animals. This sector contributes roughly 40% to GDP and 50% of exports. It is the most actively exploited natural resource, supporting pastoralist livelihood. Somalia boasts one of the world's longest coastlines, over 3,300 kilometers, with rich potential for tuna, mackerel, lobster, and other species. Currently underutilized, fisheries contribute only about 2 to 5% of exports and a small share of GDP. Ongoing initiatives aim to develop sustainable value chains. Okay, so they've got fish, but they're not getting them. So that could be something that could be done to help them in their country. Somalia has deposits of various minerals, many identified decades ago, but with very limited commercial extraction, mostly small scale artisanal mining. Key ones include gypsum, among the world's largest known reserves, uranium, historically significant finds in the 1960s to 1980s. Some estimates suggest major reserves, though speculative. Iron ore, copper, bauxite, tin, and salt, plus others like feldspar, kaolin, limestone, quartz, silica, sand, tantalum, and gemstones. Production remains minimal. The sector contributes little to the economy due to security, infrastructure, and investment challenges. Well, yeah, no one wants to invest in a country that's having a Muslim war going on in it. Oil and natural gas. Somalia is believed to have substantial untapped offshore and some onshore hydrocarbon reserves. Estimates range from 30 billion barrels of oil equivalent or higher in optimistic reports in the Somali Basin and the Gulf of Aden areas. No commercial production yet. The country imports all of its petroleum needs. Okay, so they have 30 billion barrels of oil sitting in their thing, in their ocean, and they're not getting it. Okay, that should be something that they could look into to improve their country, allowing some people to come in and drill for oil and pay them money for drilling the oil, maybe. Then they could get some more money that way. Multiple companies hold licenses, including Turkish Petroleum, Shell, ExxonMobil, and others. Oh, drilling is expected to begin in 2026, with Turkish led offshore efforts highlighted as a key milestone. Onshore agreements with Turkey in April 2025 add to the momentum. If successful, this could transform the economy, but it also carries risks like geopolitical tension, security issues, and the classic resource curse challenges. Okay, arable land, 8.9 million hectares, 2 rivers, and potential for crops like bananas, sorghum, sesame, and sugar. Renewable resources, solar and wind, all right, whatever. Frankincense and myrrh remain notable exports for remaining woodlands. In summary, Somalia's greatest current strengths lie in its renewable biological resources like livestock and fisheries, which already drive most of the economy, but that's not going to make them a lot of money. The minerals, and especially oil, gas, represent massive future potential with real exploration progress in 2025 and 2026, raising hopes for an economic shift. But realizing that will depend on stability, governance, infrastructure, and responsible management to avoid pitfalls seen in other resource rich nations. So, yeah, I mean, we should send over a bunch of lesbian moms to like run their country. I'm sure the lesbian moms will be able to figure out how to get those 30 billion barrels of oil out of the ground. Not capitalist, right? Not capitalist. I mean, looks like Turkey's already there, and a bunch of American private corporations as well. They've got uranium. I think I've heard that that is pretty valuable. I've heard that it's valuable. What else do they have? They don't have any gold or silver, but copper, I've heard copper's going up too, though. Okay. So what it looks like here is that Somalia right now is possibly the worst place to live on the planet because it's run, or not run by, but has Al Qaeda affiliates. Like, look, I'm not saying that that's not part of they weren't created by the US government, probably. But now they're operating on their own. And I mean, look, our government just did a kidnapping and an assassination too. So, look, I'm not saying that our government's perfect, but, you know, most of our interclan conflict doesn't end in huge wars. There are people getting injured from the interclan conflict between Republicans and Democrats. Obviously, Renee Good was just killed in an interclan violent conflict between Republicans and Democrats, so we're not that much better than them, for sure. For sure. But I mean, if the reason why we're bringing them here is because there's a severe humanitarian crisis, we can't bring all 4.8 million people from Somalia. Oh, no, wait, that's only the people that are experiencing extreme hunger. I don't even know what the population of Somalia is, but obviously, oh, wait, if that's 1/4, so it's like 16 million people, or if that's 5, it would be 20 million people in the country. So, I mean, if we're going to bring over 1/4 of the people, right, like 5 million people from Somalia, 1.5 million children, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people to bring over from another country on planes and then give them houses, all types of social benefits and stuff like that. And then just move them in to other people's neighborhoods, and hopefully they'll just fit in with American life. I definitely am more of a subscriber to the going to their country and helping them type of thing, which, the West was known for until, colonialism got a very bad name. Because, I mean, let's keep it real. The World Bank, IMF, and all that type of stuff, they were exploiting people. They're going into their country where they have no money and then offering them a bunch of debt in exchange to extract their resources. And then even at the end, when they were supposed to have paid off the debt and now it's time for them to profit off of their own resources, somehow that it never gets to that point. It never gets to that point because the debt keeps on, what's it called? Compounding. The interest keeps compounding, and they just never actually reach the point where they can actually pay back the IMF, World Bank, and then they're in perpetual debt and they have to basically sell off all their resources for pennies on the dollar to Western countries or globalist countries, companies, right? So that's the geopolitical breakdown of this from my perspective. I'm sure you have a different perspective. You can tell me I'm stupid in the comments. That seems to be the only thing people ever tell me in the comments. So I'm kind of starting to ignore it now. But that's the video for now. Might be back with a different video later. Hopefully you learned something from this. I definitely did. Thanks for watching the video. Have a good day and peace.